Welcome to MotoGP Mac.
In today's video, we're going to talk about the practice session that just happened for the Catalan Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Now, before we get into it, here's how it finished. Brad Binder topped it from Pedro Acosta, Alex Marquez, Marc Marquez, Marco Bezzecchi, Enea Bastianini, Franco Morbidelli, Johan Zarco, Luca Marini, Aya Agora, Fabio Quartararo, Miguel Oliveira, Joan Mir, Fermin Aldegar, Jack Miller, Alex Rins, Fabio Di Gianantonio, Jorge Martin, Raul Fernandez, Aleix Espargaro, Pecco Bagnaia, Lorenzo Savadori, Maverick Vinales, and Samkit Chantra. So realistically, we now know the KTM does have good pace around here, but does it have consistent pace? And that's still the answer that we need to find out. Brad and Pedro did some amazing laps, and they do look as if they have pace, but do they have race-winning pace? That's the big question for me. Alex Marquez did look pretty comfortable, and so did Marc. Not as comfortable as normal, but he did look pretty comfortable. Marco Bezzecchi, just a little bit behind Marc, definitely has pace, and the bike is working well around there. Doesn't look to be riding or overriding too hard, so it will be interesting to see how he gets on in the race and qualifying. Enea Bastianini, good to see him up there. Really weird incident towards the end where the bike went up on top of the tires after the crash in turn 2, I think, or the entry into turn 2. Franco Morbidelli, who obviously has been re-signed by VR46, confidence is up, and he is definitely pushing on. Good to see Johan Zarco and Luca Marini on the Hondas inside the top 10 and straight through to Q2. Really good to see it. You know, not too far in the time difference as well, like within 4/10, which is pretty good, if I'm honest. Aya Agora back on, let's just call it a normal track that suits the bike. Definitely showing that he still does have the quality, even though we did start, to be fair, to doubt it with the lack of results, let's just call it. Fabio Quartararo put in a good stint, in my view. Miguel Oliveira, who has been told that his services are no longer required for next year, keeping Fabio very honest. And this is one of the things you always see about Miguel. You know, Miguel is very fast, but he's just inconsistently fast. Joan Mir and Fermin Aldegar, good enough session for them. I did think that Fermin would struggle slightly. I wasn't sure, but it is going to be an interesting race for him tomorrow and Sunday. Jack Miller, settled now with his contract settled for next year. So what are we going to see out of Jack? I don't know. Is he going to just go softs tomorrow and burn up the tires? Let's wait and see. Alex Rins, though, was keeping Jack pretty honest. Fabio Di Gianantonio, 17th. And it's something, again, to do with the bike. You know, Fabio is a fast rider, but definitely not getting the best out of that GP25. Jorge Martin as well. A little bit surprised. He normally goes well around here. But then saying that, look, it is, how I would call it, is the track that he would be most active on in the way of effort, and I'd say it is pushing him to his limits physically. Raul Fernandez, kind of where I expected him to be. A little bit surprised maybe the fact that he's on an Aprilia around here, should he be further up. Aleix Espargaro doing a solid job, 1 second off. And I suppose the biggest talking point of the day, Pecco Bagnaia, 21st. He was 23rd in morning practice, and I thought, okay, maybe that he's working on race pace or this, that, and the other, but a solid second off, openly admitting that what he thought that he'd rediscovered at Balson Park has turned out not to be the case, and he is struggling when on the limit. So definitely a tough weekend coming for Pecco Bagnaia this weekend, unless they can magic up and do a Rossi shotgun setting tomorrow that fixes it somehow. Lorenzo Savadori, keeping Pecco extremely honest, and that kind of shows you exactly the pressure or where Pecco is on that bike, that if he's only as fast as a test rider, there's definitely worries and concerns there without having a valid excuse. And talking about a valid excuse, Maverick back from injury, giving it a go, fair play to him. not too far off. And Samkit Trancha also just back from injury. Not really expecting much out of him. I think tomorrow is going to be pretty interesting. Qualifying in the sprint. I hope the sprint race doesn't get dragged out, like we've seen, or just go a bit stale. But I think with Acosta and Binder, Alex, Mark, and Marco up front, let's see where they end up in qualifying. But that Joe Binder and Acosta are going to give it a go if they're anywhere near the front towards the end of the race. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the practice session that happened today for the Catalonian Grand Prix? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.